Here's my slideshow about the European intervention in Southeast Asia. Here's a bit of background of the age of exploration. It began in the 1400s and went through the 1600s. It was a period of time when the European nations began exploring the world. During this time, they discovered new routes to Asia, much of the Far East, and the Americas. Overall, the Europeans discovered and traveled to many new places, an important one being the South and Southeast Asia. Europeans wanted to find sea routes to Asia because they wanted to increase their power by trading silks and spices found in Asia. Also, it would make their trading profits larger since they could go directly to Asia. They were basically cutting out the middleman. Vasco da Gama was a famous Portuguese sailor who made history by traveling from Europe to India on a sailing ship, something that had never been done before. And here's a picture of the sailing map. Overall, life sailing on the ships was filled with hardship. Sailors had to deal with cramped conditions, poor food, bad weather, and not being paid well. A sailor's diet lacked meat and vegetables, which are an important part of your nutrients. So it often led to malnutrition and sickness known as scurvy. The European intervention took place throughout the 16th and 17th centuries. It was the first phase of European colonization of Southeast Asia. The main reason for taking over Asia was because many countries wanted to expand their trade and wanted to gain monopoly over the spice trade. Portugal's involvement in the intervention. The first Europeans to enter southern Africa were the Portuguese, who from the 15th century edged their way around the African coast in the hope of outflanking Islam. Portugal reached Asia in 1498 and were responsible for the first of many contacts between European countries and the East. Portugal built an Eastern Empire. Vasco da Gama's voyage under Afonso de Albuquerque's command made it to the Indian Ocean. The Portuguese won the local princes over by promising aid against other Europeans. With these southern footholds, the Portuguese hoped to end Muslim power and turn the Indian Ocean into a Portuguese lake. In 1510, the Portuguese seized the island of Goa off the coast of India. They made it their major military and commercial base. In less than 50 years, the Portuguese had built a strong trading empire with military and merchant outposts under their control. They used the cities they had seized on the east coast of Africa to repair and stock their ships. Rise of the Dutch. The Dutch were the first Europeans to challenge the Portuguese and their Rise of the Dutch. The Dutch were the first Europeans to challenge the Portuguese and their domination of Asian trade. In 1599, a Dutch fleet returned to Amsterdam from Asia after more than a year's absence. The ship carried a cargo of pepper, cloves, and other spices. Dutch power set up colonies and trading posts around the world. With their strategic settlement at Cape Town, the Netherlands had secured a foothold in the region. In 1641, the Dutch captured Malacca from the Portuguese and opened trade with China. They soon were able to enforce monopoly in the Spice Islands. There, they controlled shipments to Europe as well as trade within Southeast Asia. Similar to the Portuguese, the Dutch used military force to further their trading goals. In the 1700s, the growing power of England and France contributed to the decline of the Dutch trading empire in the East. Still, the Dutch maintained an empire in Indonesia in the 1900s. The Dutch East India Company. In 1602, a group of wealthy Dutch merchants formed the Dutch East India Company. This company had an unusual amount of power since the beginning. They had full sovereign powers. They had the power to build armies, wage war, negotiate peace treaties, and govern overseas territory. Spain seizes the Philippines. Magellan had claimed the archipelago for Spain in 1521. Within 50 years, Spain had conquered and colonized the islands. The Philippines became a key link in Spain's overseas trading empire. Large quantities of American silver got into the economies of East Asian nations because the Spanish shipped silver mined in Mexico and Peru across the Pacific to the Philippines. They then used the silver to buy goods in China. Important figures. Alfonso de Albuquerque, in 1510, he captured Goa, which he forfeited and made the chief trading post and permanent naval base in India. And in 1511, he captured Malacca. From this base, he could control the trade from East Indies and the coast of China. Effects of other countries. Mughal India was the center of the valuable spice trade. It was also the world leader in textile manufacturing, exporting large quantities of silk and cotton cloth. The Mughal Empire was larger, richer, and more powerful than any kingdom in Europe. But over time, the Mughal India Empire weakened. Years of civil war drained their resources. Corruption became widespread, and the central government collapsed. In turn, French and English traders fought for power, and by the 1700s, they had become locked in a bitter struggle for global power. The fighting involved both nations' lands in Asia and the Americas. And these are just pictures of where the Mughal Empire was. How is it important today? European political power, commerce, and culture in Asia grew trade, as in trading was a commodity, or you had to do it. This is a key development that led to the rise of today's modern world free market economy. What was the outcome or effect? At the end of the 19th century, the European presence in East Asia entered a new phase, during which privileged market access was transformed into political, military, and economic dominance. And there's my works cited.